What up, y'all? And we back with another episode. Yeah, the squeaky chair is gone for a little while. Old man back problems. And it took a few days to do this one. Was a little upset when I saw the latest episode of Insecure. So definitely don't like the way black fathers are portrayed on the show, how black men are portrayed on the show in general. Now again, you'll have black women say they love us and they pro-black culture. We know that's BS. Because they enjoy the way she portrays black men. Which is what? Lazy, shiftless, without any direction, needs to be saved and pushed by a black woman. That's the way we view. Either that or a misogynistic pig. We either one or the other in the show. Now, the biracial dude, I can't even think of her name either. Let me pull it up real quick. It's Amanda Seals' character's husband. Yeah, it is. Amanda Seals' character, her husband. He's portrayed as a decent dude. You had the Asian dude who was dating Molly. But when you're talking to brothers, we either, like I said, lazy, shiftless, fresh out of the joint, rappers, ball players, or the misogynistic pig. So I come in the show watching the show from that lens to begin with. So, no, I watched it. Conversation came about from it, watching it. And I didn't even like the way the conversation I had while I was watching it even, came about, which really, made me look at things differently. So I definitely knew an episode needed to come of this. Then I was on a blog and I read a woman post this. I'm late to this thread, but as a new mom with an 8-month-old, I was sad for both Lawrence and Condola. I guess I'm a big softie, but I felt for Lawrence since he is in a situation that he didn't want to be in. And when he traveled to see the baby, got a rental nearby, he was told by Condola, which is his child's mother, that she didn't trust him to stay overnight. He was trying in his own way, but it wasn't working out, and I hated the way they fought in front of the baby. Now, she threw that in there to shift blame to both, to kind of make it look like, all right, they both culpable. That's an infant child. That baby ain't gonna remember none of this. None of us remember anything going on as an infant. There are psychological studies that say we can't even remember, we don't remember anything, period, I think, before the age of 4. So, but that's cool. We'll keep on reading. However, this is where I got pissed. I felt really bad for Condola. I'm married to my husband, and see right there, this is when I tell you, people can't grasp what they're watching. This is a baby mother, baby father situation. This ain't a husband-wife situation. And you have people who still come in with their feminist colored glasses and they have this thought process of what? Hey, yo, man, I still want to sympathize and empathize with the woman. Two different situations. You can't compare married couples dealing with a child and co-parenting to two people who don't live in the same house, co-parenting. There's no comparison. It's an apples and oranges conversation. So I knew we was headed for a doozy then. And this is probably going to be a long one. I'm married to my husband, and we basically take care of the baby in shifts to give each other breaks when needed. But even with that, as a mother, it is hard for me to separate from my baby and not to take over planning things by default. Notice she says my. Now, I'm going to keep telling you guys this over and over again. The majority of women, well over 80-90% of them, they are narcissists. They won't admit to it, but it just is what it is. Doesn't say hour. It's only hours when it's child support time. It's only hours when they need to get something done, where they need both of you guys. Then it's hours. Besides that, it's my baby. Now, and this is with a supportive husband and a good support system. So even with a supportive husband, this is still her baby. I would have been pissed if my husband fed my baby random solids at 4 months old without letting me know. Exactly, because only you know. Only she knows. She doesn't need to check with him about it. He needs to check with her how to take care of the baby. Because why? Her body, her baby. Again, you really just here to kind of fill a void here and there when she needs you. Condola has been shutting Lawrence out and made the choice to keep the baby with a man who did not want to be a father. And Lawrence is mostly doing what he can as a father who lives far away. However, the baby is here now, and if Lawrence really wants to be an involved father, he has to realize the day-to-day and minute-by-minute reality of raising an infant newborn. I think that was the point of the side-by-side montage. Now, what she's actually referring to is, for those who haven't seen it, they said the doctor told them the baby could be fed, I think, at 4 months. The baby is 4 months now. Lawrence gave the baby some icing. She threw a hissy fit and said, I wanted to introduce solids my way. So again, it's really my child. You'll notice that when things go, they'll say, give me my baby. Just is what it is. It's the selfishness part of them. It's the narcissistic part of them. That's just what we're dealing with. Which is why I tell you, we live in a gynocracy. They don't want to accept that. You have people who haven't really accepted who they are in general. You have a lot of women who walk around as closeted feminists, and they think they aren't feminists because they think just by saying I'm not a feminist, I'm not a feminist. But I always tell you, your behavior dictates whether you are or not. You can say anything in the world. You can say I'm not a liar, I'm not a cheater, I'm not a killer. If you kill people, you're a killer. I don't care if you say you're not a killer or not. Your actions dictate whether you are or not your words. Which is why I always tell you about that song I love so much, Feel It in the Air with Beanie Siegel. When he comes through and he says niggas handshakes ain't matching they smiles, these niggas foul. When your actions ain't matching your words, it just is what it is. You either lying to me or you lying to yourself. And since I rarely believe people lying to themselves, I have to take it as you lying to me at that point when you tell me stuff like that. But it's not affecting me personally, so, I just kind of let it go. If someone comes to me and says, hey, yo, if I'm at work and you talking to women and I'm not a feminist, I'm not this, I'm not that. Yeah, but you support a lot of this stuff. So what else could you be? It's no different to me than when a person says, yeah, I believe Jesus died and rose again, but I ain't a Christian. You shitting me. You got to be shitting me. You can't believe Jesus died and rose again and not be a Christian. That's what that's built on. Hey, that's the foundation of that. So she then goes to say, but it just shows how much work the day to day is for an infant. And even with Lawrence's good intention, there is no way that he understands that reality. That's fine. But see, again, this is what most women who've talked about this issue is they want to talk about this from just this episode. As we go through this, I'm going to take you all the way back to her last season and how we even got to this point to let you know why you avoid a condola at all costs. It's going to end bad. Now, I want you to also hear what she also comes back to say. This is how you know she's a feminist. Even though I think Condola is controlling and a bad communicator, she was probably right in that Lawrence probably wasn't ready to spend time with the baby overnight. So if she's controlling and a bad communicator, then it really ain't Lawrence's fault that he doesn't know what's going on with his child if he keeps saying, keep me posted, and you withholding evidence. If I'm living in another city and I'm flying down or getting on a train every weekend to come down here and spend time, if I don't know certain things, that's because you withheld them from me. And I'll say this again. When my child is here with me, there's never a time something is going on here that I don't call back and tell a mother, hey, yo, this has happened. Is that reciprocated back to me? Hell no, it's not. But I can't control how she maneuvers on that end. I can't control how I maneuver. So anything that happens with my daughter while she's in my presence and under my roof at this point, well, under our roof, at this point, I'm getting on the phone and calling her mother and letting her know, hey, this is happening, that is happening. That's our mother. That's who should be the next point of contact for me after I find something out. But that's not the way women see things. And of course, like I said, Lawrence will be made to be the bad guy, as most men always are, when all we're trying to do is keep the peace and be a parent. Does he know anything beyond what he hears at doctor's appointments? Well, if he doesn't, that's because a mother is not communicating that with him. If he's reaching out and coming down to doctor's appointments and doing all of that, how else is he supposed to know the day to day? Which is why I always tell people, and I definitely tell men this, you get your child every other weekend, dog. You doing what you can to kind of keep a relationship, but the mental manipulation and all that, the social engineering that's going on under her roof is done, dog. You can't compete with that. Your 4 days versus her 26. You cannot compete with that. Again, in those 4 days, how much rearing, child rearing, do you actually want to do with a child you rarely see? You don't want those 4 days you have out of that month, those precious 4 days, to be riddled with you guys going back and forth, arguing and screaming. So what do? She having a problem. The last thing you want to is mad at you. So what do you do at that point? You know what? It's not that big of a deal. Let's pass the buck. And you almost have to, because guess what? She's going back home and she's gonna be in your presence anyway. So the least thing you want to do is have lines of communication open, because you won't have anything else. Because if she shuts down the lines of communication and doesn't want to come visit you, now guess what we have? We now have a 13, 14-year-old child who doesn't want to come visit you on the 4 days that she is supposed to. Now you don't see it all. And see, now this is where the problem comes in, that because now this is where 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old young lady will become an adult woman and say, what? I just felt like something changed with us and you stopped spending time. It had nothing to do with me. You was going through what you was going through, didn't want to spend time. I'm only entitled to 4 days out of the month. What you want me to do? Now, you meet a judge who's in your favor. That's rare. then you may have a little more than 4 days a month. You may have 8 to 10 days a month. May. But you have to find a judge who's willing to do that. So she goes to say, does he know Elijah's bedtime and feeding routine? Kid is 4 months. He's been down to visit her almost every weekend throughout the show of what they've been showing since the child was born. Missed one weekend. You don't think he knows when the child goes to bed now, some sleeping habits, how to feed? Because they just don't trust you with him. They never wanted to trust you with him. It was just sexual selection for the most part for a lot of us. This is who I want. He has some traits I want in my child. That's it. That's it. Even when you get married, it's still really sexual selection. But you have some traits she wants in her child. Whether you see chicks who just find a guy, a hood dude, and it's like, yo, I like him. He got green eyes. I want a baby by him because I want my baby to have green eyes. Or you may have a male who will say, yo, I'm not sleeping with a black woman who doesn't have good hair. So I'll sleep with a Hispanic or a white woman because I want my daughter or my son to have good hair. That's what we're dealing with here. Sexual selection. He very well can know all of these things since the show is being vague. But if he doesn't, he and Condola need to have these conversations, and he needs to start initiating them if he really wants to be involved. And see, again, this is her projecting because the show is showing you besides one weekend, he came down every weekend. This man has a playpen, a crib, all these things set up in his living room for a son he has yet to been able to bring to his home in the 4 months that child has been alive. And you know why? Because it ain't his son. It's her son. That's the way she sees it. Now, she's told you, even though Lawrence ain't did nothing wrong, really, I think my main issue with Lawrence is that he's so passive and reactive. He has been this way for basically 5 seasons. And again, what did I tell you? This is how black women view black men. See, she won't hold Condola for everything she's done from last season to this season. But for her with Lawrence, she has a built-in way of feeling about Lawrence from season 1 to now. Who shaped the image of Lawrence? We're going to deal with Miss Issa Rae. We definitely will. You're going to have a seat over here too. He exists, floating along, and things just happen to him. It was frustrating for Issa, Tasha, and now Condola. Again, what is she talking about? Her view of a black man through the lens of 3 black women. Through the lens written, that character was written by who? Exactly. Why do black women enjoy the show? Because it shows them as what? The smart ones, the alphas, and we're what? They're servants, they're puppets. We're here to drop off penis to them when they need it and go on about our business. We're here to fill in time gaps when they want to spend time and go on about our business. When they're bored, they want you. When they're not bored, they go on and they don't need you. But when they're bored, they expect you to do what? Get up and wait at their every beck and call, because that's the world we live in. He couldn't even ask directly about the baptism. He said that his parents were asking, but did Lawrence even care or think about the baptism? You see the silly shit they want to talk about, a baptism. This is a man doing his dream job, which they'll say Issa gave him the courage when she kicked him out. And when she cheated on him and basically kicked him out, they'll say that gave him the kick in the butt. It was a black woman who did that. Then they'll tell you it was the black woman, Tasha, who gave him the confidence to go pursue his dreams and really get moving. Then they're gonna tell you Condola did what? Gave him a son. A baby he didn't want, but she gave it to him. Because you know why? She can do no wrong. She can do no wrong. Now, he said that his parents were asking, but did Lawrence even care or think about the baptism? At any rate, I hope they figure out some sort of custody agreement, which won't matter. Again, like I told you, 4 days out of the month, every other weekend. That's how it's gonna go. In a long distance relationship like that, too, might get him every other weekend. Condola's feelings, while valid, do not mean that Lawrence should be shut out from raising his child. I think if Lawrence and Condola's feelings aren't valid, again, just because you feel a certain way don't mean your feelings are valid. And that's another thing we have to deal with on a constant basis from what? From women. On a consistent basis, we have to deal with their feelings being valid or validated. The man did nothing wrong. I don't know where you could see and say Condola's feelings are valid. But again, that's what happened when we have conversations with them. It's just you can't tell me how to feel. I sure can't tell you how to feel. Don't mean what you're feeling and how you're feeling are correct though either. They're your feelings, whether they're right or wrong. They are your feelings, but that don't make them valid. Does not mean that Lawrence should be shut out from raising his child. Think if Lawrence and Condola had communicated during the pregnancy, they could have figured some of this out before getting this situation. But here we are. Now, she also left that out, which other women I've seen have left that out when they say, had they communicated. You did hear him state when he was talking to his buddy, though, that we know when they was asking him about the name of the child, he said, yeah, we talked about some names and stuff like that, but we hadn't really settled on anything yet. That states what then? Conversation was had. But again, things will be overlooked for agendas to be pushed, for points to be made. Now, as we finish this, we have more of her friends come in and say what in the chat room? You have more black women come in and say what? Right. LOL. Men are stupid. That's what they think of you. Men are stupid. That's the way we're viewed out here. Now, you also have other women saying, yes, we agree, he's passive. Another one states, his passiveness is why I could never get behind him and why I get pissed at the constant Dwayne Wayne comparisons I see. Now, she goes to state Dwayne was an alpha. Dwayne was not an alpha. Dwayne's character is more, it is more Lawrence's character. They evolved into what they turned into. But again, this is when I tell you, they don't want the good guy. They see the good guy who does things the correct way. They see him as passive, not aggressive, not an alpha. Now, if you're going upside their head or you out here yelling and screaming at people, to them, that's an alpha. They need someone aggressive, yelling and screaming. To them, that's an alpha. But 25 minutes in, so let's get to what irks me about Condola's character. This is a woman who, when she first met Lawrence, this is how petty all this is. Amanda Seals' character, who's Issa's friend, Lawrence's girl for 5 years, she basically set them up. Now, Condola is Amanda Seals' friend on the show, which really gets weird. So that's the cattiness of Black women when you're dealing with them, just on that spectrum. That's your friend. Both of these ladies are your friend, and now you're getting ready to hook him up with one of your other friends without even checking with Issa to see if it was cool. Cool. She ain't know nothing about that. We're going to let that go. When she found out, though, she found out very early. She found out very early that she really didn't want. How can we? She came to a situation where her and Issa was getting close. Her and Lawrence really was never, hell, her and Lawrence was never going to be serious to begin with. Let's just put that out there. So to me, once she found out, though, that Issa and Lawrence had been together for 5 years, she had 3 options. Leave Lawrence and continue working with Issa and working on that friendship. Kill the working relationship with Issa and pursue the relationship with Lawrence. Or stop dealing with them both. She chose option number 4, which was what? I'm going to keep screwing your man and being friends with you. And she's entitled to that. She's entitled to that. But that lets me know already this is a messy woman. Off back. I know that. So when you get a woman who wants to maneuver like that, that's sloppy. You find out somebody you building a bond with, and you dealing with a man she's been with, and they still got some unresolved issues, yet you still want to sleep with him and be friends with her. That's sloppy. But Black women had no problem with that. They still was cool with it. They was cool with it. And you know why? Because they enjoy that type of sloppiness and messiness also. That's why they love Scandal so much. They enjoyed her, Olivia Pope, sleeping with a married man. They enjoy that. It's not boring. See, that type of stuff right there to them, that ain't boring. That's an exciting life to them. And it's why I always tell you, when you find a woman who can't be content, it's only so long before it's going to end. Because if she can't be content, she'll never be satisfied. She's always going to be looking for more, which is always going to be pushing you to want more. And the second you don't want to go where she wants to go, guess what she's going to say? I think I just want more than you want. And I need to find somebody who's going to match what I'm doing. And I don't knock that. Never have, never will. Do you and go find it. Do you and go find that. But you do have to understand, man, that's always going to come about when you find a Condola. So you find out, and I also blame Lawrence some for that, because when you find out, yo, even though he liked her, and I think he thought it could be something serious, she knew this was never going to be serious, which is why I said she was foul from the jump. He wanted a relationship. She didn't. But for him, when you find out this chick is friends and working with your ex for 5 years, somebody you still got feelings for, you got to dead that with her. I don't care how good the box is at that point. You got to dead that. So, Like I said, I think my biggest issue with Condola was she didn't want a commitment from Lawrence. And yet she strung him along until she was done with him. Which was what? I think they was like 3, 4 episodes in. I think after like episode 3, episode 4, the fourth of last season, she was gone. They had their kitchen scene. You ain't see her again till she said, "Hey, yo, bro, I'm pregnant." That was season finale. So he was just there to have a good time. But that's what I'm saying. She wrecked all of that to continue to do what she wanted. She's a narcissist. You have to avoid women like that. She's a covert narcissist, but she's a narcissist. See, she destroyed that friendship with Issa, made all of that awkward, knowing from the rip she never was going to be serious with Lawrence. So that means you didn't care about what the bond you was building with Issa either. All that was fraudulent. All of it was what? It was self-serving at the moment. That's it. That's all that relationship was. Now, like I said, most women don't find it to be a problem because most women are narcissistic and they do things that's self-serving. So to them, it doesn't even play into their mind what they're watching is self-serving because it's just part of how their minds are wired. And if you wired a certain way, you don't see anything wrong with it. But a woman like Condola was what? She was very comfortable making Issa uncomfortable at every turn. Bringing Lawrence's name up. You don't mind if we talk about Lawrence and all of this. Popping up at restaurants. You know, she was having a good time flaunting Lawrence in Issa's face. But again, that's what, when I say you get women who get out of damaged women who are damaged out of relationships, that's what they do when they get out of it. They want to go damage other people. She didn't really say why her and her husband broke up, but you know, they said it was something bad. He left her. So how did she get back? Hell, I'm gonna do to the next woman what that woman did to me. I'm gonna get some get back. You know why? She ain't got no moral compass. The narcissist came out of her. But when you really think about it, maybe she just got what she deserved. Maybe the earth already seen it. Maybe the universe was working in mysterious ways already. Now, she hadn't told Lawrence she didn't want to get married again, which shows she really didn't want anything serious. She was leading them on. So while Lawrence was under the understanding we was getting to know each other and we vibing, which is his fault, because I'll tell women too, and tell somebody tells you we're exclusive, which she did though. She did kind of make it seem like they was exclusive. She was asking him what was going on. Was he over Issa? All of that. So see, if you're not really serious about something, that shouldn't bother you. But again, that's a narcissist for you. I want what I want when I want it. This is my toy. I don't care if I got 30 other toys. This right here is my toy. And yes, I could be talking to other guys and dating casually, but when I come see you, you better be all eyes on me. That's the way it works when you're dating women. But she ain't want to disturb that groove. So she told Lawrence as little as possible. Which is, again, other things you have to deal with. Which is why I tell you, men, don't ever tell a woman what you actually want or looking for. Just sit tight. Let it all play out. Because as you let it play out, everything will start. All your questions will get answered. I always tell you, the more you tell a woman what you're looking for, the more she can morph into whatever you're saying you're looking for. And once you stop telling them, they become like a fish out of water. They start just doing any and everything to see if this what he likes, is that what he likes. I don't know how to satisfy you, so I need you to tell me how. No, just be you. They're not comfortable being them, though. They don't know what that means. So, a best friend in the kitchen scene, that last episode before she disappeared, she told him, no, she was damaged by her husband. And that she was just casually dating Lawrence. That was when Lawrence first found out they was casually dating. Which lets you know the type of woman this is. Just maneuvering, sneaking around, basically misleading them. She was misleading him every turn, but he thought it was something serious. He was thinking he found somebody that he was equally yoked with and we could vibe and move forward. That ain't what happened during that kitchen scene. See, drunk Nikki came out and told him everything. Lawrence then says, I didn't know you didn't want a family. She says, no, who told you that? Now understand this scene right here is very pivotal to everything that played out. He says that he came right back and said after she said, who told you that? You said you didn't want to get married again. She said, true. But she didn't say true. She just paused and looked crazy for a second. So now at that point, when she says, who told you I didn't want a family? What she meant was, I still want a child, which is family. We just didn't catch on at that point. She had got to a stage in her life where she wanted a what? Where is that? Yeah, I think it's this. No, it's not. Let me find that. Nope. That's not it either. Right. Family. Before we go any further. She wanted children, which for a covert female narcissist is what? Children are a focal point for female narcissists. They can be quite overbearing parents, while male narcissists see children as more of an inconvenience. Female narcissists often consider their children as sources of the validation and attention they desperately seek, which is why she could not give that baby to Lawrence. Who's going to give me the attention I want? So you got to understand, a lot of times when you watching these children run around and all of these boys turning into boy men and all of this 14, 15, 16 years old out here shooting the streets up. When you say, where's their mother at? She's done raising them now. They no longer need her. I've told you this episode after episode. I didn't want to label it as this at that point, but I've told you this episode after episode. Once they no longer need her, she's done with them. Once they can no longer worship her and make her feel like the goddess that she feels like she is, she's done with them. You can get the hell out my house. You'll hear females who go into womanhood and young boys who turn into men tell you what, my mama kicked me out. You'll hear 45-year-old woman who's now children are all adults. 42-year-old woman, children are all adults. I want to have another baby. Why? Because I need to be worshipped again. I don't really care. See, yes, it would be great for me to have a man. That's the ultimate goal. But if I can't have that, this little baby gonna need me for the next 10 to 15 years. Now, after this baby no longer needs me, then I'll get rid of the child. I can kick it out and go on about my business. But it buys her 10 to 12 more years of worship. She feeds off that. She needs the validation. She needs someone to say, hey, yo, I need you. You are the most important person here. They view their children as extensions of themselves. They will often choose one golden child and shower that child with attention and privilege, leaving the siblings isolated and excluded. For those who grew up in these type families, you already know what I'm talking about. This makes a lot of sense to a lot of you guys. I already know. Every accomplishment of the chosen child is seen as direct reflection of their superior parenting. Now, ain't that some shit? Don't I tell you this on a time in and time out basis? Every time you see these women jump up, and this ain't me saying this. Who wrote this again? This comes from Babita Spinelli, psychotherapist and certified coach at the Opening the Door of Psychotherapy. So I don't want you guys to think this is me making something up or some random person. This is a psychotherapist talking. But again, every accomplishment of the chosen child is seen as a direct reflection of their superior parenting. What do I always tell you? When those children graduate from kindergarten, 8th grade, high school, college, who's the first one screaming and yelling? There go my baby. Look what my baby did. You can't tell me what a strong Black woman can't do. That's it. And when that child goes awry, as I keep stating over and over again, what did she say? He ain't had no daddy around. That's it. That's it, man. It's always daddy fault. When the shit go left, it's daddy fault. When it's right, it's her. Covert narcissism. Don't let this go over your head, man. So you gotta understand when you're dealing with a woman like Condola. Getting pregnant was the end game. Because we'll get to that now. Season 4 ends with Condola popping back up 6 episodes later, saying I'm pregnant, and Lauren says, I thought we were careful. She says, me too, which means someone was misled. Someone wanted a baby. But again, because these women are used to trapping men and getting them to get them pregnant, guess what we had here? Not a complaint again. It was just he was stupid. Somebody tell you they thought we were safe. We were using rubbers, or somebody said they was on birth control. Now, since she stated also doing men, so he asks, well, we'll just keep it right there also. I'm more to assume I'm projecting here. I'll acknowledge that. She told him, hey, I'm on birth control. We good here. She knew she wasn't. She wanted to get pregnant, though. Sexual selection. Sexual selection. It's no different than what lions do and female animals and mammals out here in the wild do. They find the alpha that they want. They find the man who has the certain characteristics that they want in their child, and they go and they mate with him. That's what she did here. She used Lawrence. So you gotta understand, when I'm triggered watching all of this, I'm watching it understanding how it all played out. Not some snapshot. So he asked if she's keeping it. And she says what? I wasn't ready to have one with my husband, so I aborted that one. But I'm ready now. And I'm keeping this baby. I'm ready now to have a baby from a casual friends with benefits situation. only because she's ready now. She then says, it's not like I don't want to have kids. I do. So there we go again. Now, when she wasn't ready and she was married and her husband wanted the child, or probably wanted the child, guess what she said? I'm not ready. It's going to ruin my career, mess up my career. I'm terminating. You know why? Her body, her choice. I'm ready to have a baby. I'm a lie and tell a man I'm on birth control so I can get pregnant by him. And then I'll blow his life up. I'm keeping the baby. Now, she then says, it's not like I don't want to have kids. I do, which means she didn't want them with her husband, which is cool. I didn't want them while I was married. I don't know why you got married then to a man who wanted a family, and the whole idea of marriage is really about family, but that's cool. You got married and didn't want to have kids, but you thought I'd sleep with a rando and get pregnant. That made sense to her. And it usually does make sense to them. Makes all the sense in the world to them. And you know why? Because at this point, this child adds some part to their life. It ain't really about the child now. It's just something they want to do at this point. And at this point in her life, Condola wanted a what? A kid. And that just is what that is. Nothing wrong with that. But she probably should have went to a sperm donor. You don't just randomly pick a guy and basically trick him into getting you pregnant to have a kid. Or at least go in telling them, hey, yo, I want to get pregnant by you. I don't even want you to be involved in it. See how it goes. But she lied and was sneaky all the way through, which is why I don't understand how women gave her a pass. Well, I understand why. I just logically can't understand why. But she didn't want him with her husband, but she was fine with having them with Lawrence. But she didn't want to bring her child into a nuclear family situation. She just wanted to be mother goddess, have her offspring, have that worship. And then when this boy gets 12 or 13, guess what happens? Go live with your daddy. I can't teach you how to be no man. And you know how they usually tell you that? It's because the worshiping party's over. Now that the worshiping party's over, you go on now. I got another little child to take care of. Now, after that child gets older, you'll start to see again around 10 or 11 or 12. Or if you have multiple, you maybe have 3 or 4. See, that's why they usually have 3 or 4 children. By the time they get to 45 or 50, at that point, they're done with that type of worshiping. Kids are done. They know that's over. That's usually when they're going to exit the marriage and they'll start seeking worship and validation from either elderly men or younger men, whichever one they can get. But they're just always looking for that worship, that validation. She then says, I'm not expecting anything from you. And I don't want you to feel trapped. So if she ain't expect nothing from him and don't want him to feel trapped, that means what? She knowingly went and got pregnant by Lawrence. That was what this was about all along. Looked like a good candidate. Now, in order for him to get a custody agreement, he's going to have to do what? Pay child support for a child he did not want, for a child he was trapped into having. Welcome to being a black fucking man. This your boy, the hood nerd. I'm out.